Yo, what is up, everybody? It has been a while. I have moved, and that was why it's been a while. So I haven't said what's up in a while. So what's up yet again? Let's talk about the ban list today. So it's a good time to come back because, hey, ban list and Firestorm are coming out. That's what I want to talk about today. Let's start with the ban list, specifically. Mostly Elechick is relevant here. So Elechick is kind of a tempo menace in the format. It kind of pops up in every tempo deck, similar to things like Eddie and Astro Rabbit. But Elechick's the thing that got completely banned, which I guess you can kind of say was foretold, pun intended, I guess. Not solar, but it was. You could tell it was on the chopping block because it was at a 1 limit, and that 1 limit was still very relevant because you play an Elechick with your 2 Zeus or 2 Demeter and develop effectively a 7 attack threat on board, generate some kind of card advantage tempo. Like, if you're searching out a Zeus through Elechick, you're developing a body and Zeus for 1 card. Now if you're playing Zeus or Demeter, you have to just develop Zeus on board, and you don't have that aggressive body unless you play another card from your hand. So the tempo potential of that Elechick play was very relevant and no longer possible, because if you're playing Plucky now, which does the same thing as Elechick, but because its stats are reversed, doesn't give you that tempo edge of playing a 4 attacker plus the 3 from Demeter or Zeus, making it like 7. Now you have Plucky that can make itself almost a 4 attacker, which is relevant because that doesn't get over a lot of defense Elestrals. It doesn't get over a lot of attacking Elestrals either. So yes, there's Plucky to replace it if you really need Zeus, which is going to be relevant in Firestorm with the Champions of Zeus archetype. In Firestorm, you have no way to search Zeus yet, unlike Aeolus gets Sorlet. The other ones that search their specific divine runes, off the top of my head, I can't remember all of them, but divine runes are getting specific searchers. Zeus doesn't have that yet because, well, Elechick existed. Now Elechick doesn't exist, so there's no Zeus searcher, at least for the time being, other than Plucky. So if you're playing Champions of Zeus, you're probably going to be forced to play at least 1 Plucky just to increase the odds of getting Zeus, with how important Zeus needs to be on board for all your kind of tagging effects with like Griffuse and Voltempest to just plop them into play, and Zeus's call and all that jazz. To make the deck function, you need Zeus. To get Zeus, you're going to have to play Plucky. Now with Demeter doesn't have a fully supported archetype, so I don't see people running Pluckies to play Demeter, which is probably going to hurt the Earth decks a little bit, but hey, they have End Titan, which is going to be pretty relevant in Firestorm. If you are trying to play Earth Demeter stuff, there's no Earth Solar stuff that's really super relevant. There's a little Earth Solar mix for artifacts with like Sprouters and Liliths and Scythe of Demeters and stuff, but that doesn't need Demeter. You can play Scythe of Demeter without Demeter and feel perfectly fine with it. So you really don't have a reason to play Solar with Earth, whereas you do have a reason to play Solar with Thunder, not just because of obviously Zeus and Zeus's champions, but there's Fossil Cell stuff that you can run that do like to play either Apollo or Zeus depending. So yeah, Plucky with Thunder and Solar stuff for searching Divines will be fine. Searching out Demeter is not going to feel as good, but people might try to do it. And again, there's that tempo kind of thing missing now with the Elechick finding a card, getting the card advantage that's missing. So yeah, Elechick banned. Kind of expected, but pretty relevant going into now Firestorm that Elechick's not there for like the Zeus decks and stuff to really use. So that might hurt the Champions of Zeus decks a little bit as people try to tinker with it.
Subscribe to Werts.
Subscribe to Werts.
Subscribe to Werts, bro.
Subscribe to Werts.
Sub to Werts, by the way.
It's literally just us telling people to subscribe to Werts. No!
But moving on, Rise from the Ashes also limited to 1. Which makes sense. It was definitely a hit towards Blizzstrix. Now, Blizzstrix has this crazy RNG high rolly potential, and one of the things that kept the deck kind of continuing its high roll is Rise from the Ashes. So if you get into like a Circusaur with your Snowlet and then go, oh no, I milled my Blizzstrix now. Okay, now you rise your Blizzstrix, keep going, or your Asprowl. After the fact, you go Snowlet. Okay, here's my Asprowl. Let's rise the other Snowlet, then go Asprowl. And now you have chances to hit more Asprowls and Blizzstrix. And Rise from kind of created these even more explosive RNG-based things for Blizzstrix, which, yes, Blizzstrix is supposed to be the RNG, I guess, low skill floor deck, high skill ceiling. and Rise from the Ashes just made it a lot easier to function with that deck. Now, to replace it in Blistrix, they might add some more counter rune suites, they might add stuff to go longer, they might add just Frostics to try to shenanigans their way with more Snowlets into Asprowls. It's interesting to see what they replace it. It's only 2 cards they have to replace, but they might replace all 3 because of the Hyrule nature of Rise from going away. Ultimately, it also impacted decks like Celestial Reanimator, which just topped, or rather came in first on the last Moonrise tournament. And there's been some Solar Reanimator stuff in the past, like I did a Fairgeist Solar Reanimator list forever ago, and it just kind of has the same idea of play Komagma, maybe Golden Apple Discord, discard big guy, reanimate big guy, first light big guy to top a deck, Komagma draw discard, etc. Like, it's just how those decks work. And it was someone finally figured out the kind of deck build to make it actually playable and good. So congrats to the Australians, I think, made that deck. But yeah, they made it work competitively, more so than I ever did with the Fairgeist deck. Granted, Fairgeist got limited, so it wouldn't have been relevant anyway. But it's cool to see that deck. Unfortunately, creative decks like that did get significantly hit with the Rise from the Ashes, which up until like a month or 2 ago, with probably a little bit longer with Blistrix stuff, Rise from the Ashes was a terrible card. Nobody would want to play except for like me, basically. My girlfriend literally bought me like 5 Rise from the Ashes because I played it so much in so many decks. I just like the card because it's so expensive. It's honestly, it's just a really expensive card that makes for really cool, interesting plays. However, there is a deck that kind of abuses it a little bit too much to make not just interesting plays, but abuse it with Blistrix and kind of keep going on these RNG big swingy combos that could end a game on turn 1 or 2 if they got lucky and kind of extended those lucky roll turns. So I understand the Rise from the Ashes hit. It's unfortunate for the cool, interesting decks like the Celestial stuff coming out and potentially future Reanimator stuff with like Hermes, the shenanigans you might have been able to pull off there more consistently with maybe Flammamoth or any of the wind stuff that you could have just dumped from deck and then rised with Hermes. That would have been an 8-spirit turn, but would have been a cool deck to experiment with that you really can't play now. So unfortunately, going forward, Firestorm, having that limit kind of takes away some of that interesting deck building and like design and stuff that I wanted to try. But I understand why it needed to get hit. I think everyone understands that Rise from the Ashes should have got a hit because of the Blistrix stuff, not because Blistrix is going to be worse without it, but it's going to be less explosive without it. And there are some replacements that Frost could play in its place to make it a little less explosive. Like, no longer you're going to get 2 Blistrix out on a turn. Now you can get like a Blistrix and maybe a Snowlet or Asprow. It's going to be much more difficult to get super high RNG turns that win the game on the spot, which is kind of what the frustration is against Blistrix. So that's the ban and limit list. Briefly, I'll just go, Firestorm's coming out soon. I'm back. Hello, my new apartment's a mess. The TV's on the floor. There's stuff everywhere, but we're getting there. I plan on streaming my Firestorm creator box when that gets here this weekend. Hopefully sometime reasonably soon, but I'm back. Hello, it's Werts, and I have a really cool video coming out hopefully tomorrow. If not, the day after. So stay tuned for that. I got videos coming out. Probably a stream later this weekend to open Firestorm. And thanks for sticking around. Well, good to be back, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.